One of the best things about working in Python is the large number of open source packages that are out there. You can often find something that's almost exactly what you need, and it will save you a huge amount of time and development cost. So let's say I'm on the internet and I see a picture of a cute kitty. So search for cute kitty. Cute kittens actually looks good. And then I'm going to go to Google image search, and there are some cute kitties. And let's say I like this picture of a cute kitty and I download it. And I'm going to save this as into the demo project I've been using so far for this module. So that's going to be in C users, mark, PyCharm projects. And then I've been working in demo. And I'm just going to save this here as kitty.jpg. Great. So now if I look in my project, I have kitty.jpg. If I double click on that, it actually opens up in PyCharm, and I see it's relatively small, 183 pixels by 276 pixels, but it could be a lot bigger. And let's say I wanted to use this in a web page somewhere. I might want to convert it to PNG, for example, portable network graphic, instead of having a JPEG image, which uses up more space generally. So it's really easy to do that in Python. In fact, you can do it in a 3-line program. So let's go ahead and make a new Python file. And I'm going to call this convert JPEG or JPG to PNG. And the thing that makes this program so short and easy to write is the Python image manipulation library, PIL. So I can from PIL import an image class, and then when I have that image class, my program is just basically 2 lines of code from there. So image is equal to image.open, and then I give it the name of the file, kitty.jpg, and then image.save, and I give it a new file name with a .png extension. And the Python image manipulation library, or Python image library, is smart enough to know that this thing with the .jpg extension is a JPEG file, and that when I specify a .png extension, it should save it as a portable network graphic. So let's go ahead and run this program. I'm going to right-click on that and run it. And it works just fine, and I can open up my new kitty.png file, and it says this is now a PNG file. The original file is still a JPEG file. And because it was such a small JPEG, I actually ended up with a bigger PNG file than I had with the JPEG file, but that's generally not true as you get to higher resolution files. Anyways, so that was pretty easy, and it was easy because I had the PIL library installed. But what if I didn't have the PIL library installed and you wanted to get it? Well, I'm actually using a library called Pillow, and I'm going to show you how to install and use new libraries in your project. So the first thing to know when you're creating your project, so I'm going to make a new project, and let's call this JPEG converter. And I mentioned this in an earlier video, but basically when you configure the project under this Python interpreter, you have a choice between a virtual environment that's set up in a completely self-contained subfolder of your project that has copies of your Python executable and your package installer and any libraries that you want to add to your project. Or you can use a previously configured interpreter, which is generally going to be the global installation of Python that you use on your machine. And this will typically have all of the libraries you use already installed in it. And so you can assume that the environment is pre-configured for you. So that being the case, if everything you want is actually in this folder, then why would you ever want a self-contained environment? And the downside of having a large number of community-supported packages is that the packages are not always completely compatible with each other. So there are new versions of packages being released all the time, and sometimes those cause problems with other packages, or sometimes packages are just incompatible because they have overlaps in terms of namespaces or resources that they tie up, or for whatever reason, you may want to have different versions of packages installed in different projects. So, for example, this project, my JPEG converter, it's just going to use the Python image library, or Pillow, which is a fork of Pill, and doesn't need anything else. So why do I want to have everything else possibly getting in the way of Pill working correctly? That's why I might want to use a virtual environment. So I'm going to go ahead and show you for both of these how you can install a new package like Pillow into your previously configured global interpreter or into a virtual environment that's associated with a new project. Now you'll notice when you create this virtual environment here, there's an option to inherit global site packages. So if you check this off, it will not only create a virtual environment, but it will also copy all of the site packages that you have installed into your global interpreter into that virtual environment. So it's basically making a snapshot of the state of your machine when you create this project, and then any changes you make are going to go into the virtual environment. Now, the downside of doing that is if you have a lot of packages installed into your global configuration of Python, then you're going to get a lot of stuff copied into this virtual environment that you don't really need. And so that's going to defeat the purpose somewhat. And then you can also share virtual environments across different projects by making it available to all projects. And then later on, when I'm selecting a project to use, I can actually select which virtual environment I want to associate with the new project that I'm making. But mostly I'm just going to go ahead for now and create a new virtual environment using Virtualenv. And I'm going to put that in a new window. And then let's go ahead and for my main, I'm going to copy the code from my convert here. Let me just go ahead and put that all in there. And then get rid of the rest of this. And then let me move the import to the top. So a very simple program. Now you'll notice that pill is underscored highlighted in red. So there's an error here that unresolved reference pill because I have no pill module installed in my virtual environment. And so it also can't pull image out of that module because it doesn't exist. So if you want to install a package into your virtual environment, you go to File, Settings, and then somewhere down around here, you're going to see project : and then your project name. Go ahead and open that, and you'll see a link to Project Interpreter. So if you watch the video on configuring your interpreter, this is familiar to you. And before we looked at how to select an interpreter for your project. But here, you'll notice that underneath that, there's a list of packages that are available to this interpreter. And since this is running in a virtual environment, you just get the minimal set of standard packages, which includes pip, a Python installer, and then some setup tools and this wheel thing. So if I want to add a new package, I can click this little plus sign here, and this shows me a list of many packages that are available to install. So many that you probably want to do a search. So I'm going to search for Pillow, which is the fork of pill that I want to use. And then you'll see that when Pillow is highlighted, there's some information about it. It's a Python imaging library fork, the version, the author contact information, and a link to the project homepage so that you can learn more about it, read documentation, and so on. You can also, if you don't want to use the latest version, you can also click this box and specify which version you do want to use. But I'm just going to go ahead and click Install Package. And it just took a minute because there's already precompiled binaries for Pillow, which is one of the reasons I selected it. But it says Package Pillow installed successfully. So I go ahead and close that. And now I see in the list of installed packages, there's Pillow version 8.3.1. So I say OK. And now I don't have the red highlighting under pill or image anymore. If I copy my kitty.jpg over, oops. So I'm going to Control C that and Control V to paste. And then let me go ahead and run my program, and it should work just fine. And it does now. So here's my PNG, and there's my kitty. Now, if you want to install a package into your global Python so that you can use it on a site-wide basis across all your projects, then you can run the pip program directly from the command line. So the first thing you want to do is type pip -- version to make sure that you're using the right version of pip, because there'd be a different version of pip associated with each different installation of Python that you have on your machine. And this particular pip is pip 21.2.3, which is the pip associated with my app data local programs Python 39 installation of Python. So any packages that I install using this pip here are going to go into this site packages here. And if I want to install it into a different installation of Python, then I have to make sure that I run the version of pip associated with that version of Python. But this is the right one for me. If it wasn't, I would fix my path, and there's a video on doing that. So I'm going to just pip install Pillow. Now I already have Pillow installed, and so it just says requirement already installed. It also gave me a warning that I'm using pip version 21.2.3. However, they just released a new version, 21.2.4, so it's recommending that I upgrade. So let's do that. Python-m pip install -- upgrade pip. And my new pip upgrade is installed. And if I try pip installing Pillow again, requirement already satisfied, but I don't get the warning. So for the global version, use pip from the command line. For a virtual environment associated with your project, go ahead and use File, Settings, Interpreter, and then you can add a package.